Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most shocking and unexpected developments in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, a daring Ukrainian drone assault that reportedly struck and destroyed parts of Russia's Kamchatka military base before the first light of dawn. The scale, precision, and distance of this operation have stunned not just Moscow, but the entire international community. This wasn't just another battlefield engagement or routine strike. This was a strategic message sent across thousands of kilometers, proving that Ukraine's reach, intelligence, and resolve have advanced to an entirely new level. The Kamchatka Peninsula, located in Russia's far east, has always been considered one of the most secure and untouchable regions due to its remoteness, heavy defenses, and naval presence. Yet, within a few silent minutes, 4 Ukrainian drones managed to infiltrate, evade radar systems, and unleash destruction that no one in Moscow saw coming. As the sun began to rise over the icy landscapes of Kamchatka, smoke and flames reportedly filled the horizon. Satellite images and leaked footage circulating online showed explosions near military hangars, fuel storage tanks, and what analysts believe to be radar and communications equipment tied to the Pacific Fleet's operations. The attack occurred at a time when most personnel were off guard, in the quiet hours before dawn, making it not just a physical strike but a psychological blow. For Russia, Kamchatka has long been a symbol of distant security, a bastion of its nuclear submarine fleet, and a crucial surveillance post in the Pacific. For Ukraine to hit it, directly or through long-range operations, suggests an extraordinary leap in capabilities and intelligence coordination. Inside the Situation Room in Kyiv, reports suggest that Ukrainian officials monitored the drone's progress in real time. The unmanned aerial vehicles were said to have taken off from multiple points, each designed to confuse Russian radar coverage and exploit gaps in the early warning systems. One of the drones is believed to have traveled nearly 6,000 kilometers, a staggering distance that even Western analysts did not think Ukraine could achieve independently. By the time Russian air defenses detected the incoming threats, it was already too late. The first explosion struck the northern sector of the Kamchatka base, where an array of radar dishes and satellite communications equipment were located. Seconds later, 2 more drones impacted storage zones used for fuel and maintenance supplies, setting off a chain of secondary explosions that engulfed nearby structures. The 4th drone, though reportedly shot down near the perimeter, detonated close enough to cause collateral damage to the base's outer defenses. The interior of the base was thrown into chaos. Alarms blared, soldiers scrambled for cover, and communications with Moscow were temporarily cut off. Emergency response teams rushed to contain fires and secure sensitive areas, but the damage had already been done. It wasn't just a matter of physical destruction, it was the humiliation of realizing that one of Russia's most distant, supposedly secure bases was vulnerable to Ukrainian reach. For years, Russian defense officials had assured that Kamchatka, due to its geographic isolation and advanced radar network, was immune to enemy attacks. Now that illusion has been shattered in front of the world. Performance-wise, this operation showcased a new generation of Ukrainian drone technology that few outside observers even knew existed. These were not ordinary kamikaze drones or short-range loitering munitions. They were sophisticated, long-range autonomous systems capable of navigating extreme weather conditions and dense radar coverage. Military experts analyzing the wreckage say the drones demonstrated characteristics similar to Western designs, possibly aided by advanced satellite navigation and signal guidance systems. What's remarkable is not only the range but also the precision. Each drone hit a vital structure, suggesting detailed reconnaissance and deep familiarity with the base's layout. Whether this was achieved through human intelligence, satellite imagery, or electronic espionage remains a subject of speculation. What's certain is that Ukraine has sent a loud and clear message: no Russian asset, no matter how far, is beyond reach. From a performance standpoint, the mission was nearly flawless. Out of the 4 drones launched, 3 hit their designated targets, and 1 achieved partial detonation near the defensive perimeter. The efficiency of this strike hints at months of planning, simulations, and careful timing. Ukrainian engineers and strategists have continuously refined their drone arsenal since the early stages of the war, transforming improvised civilian drones into precision-guided aerial weapons. The Kamchatka strike demonstrates not just technical prowess, but psychological warfare. It forces Moscow to spread its defenses even thinner across its vast territory, stretching its already pressured military resources. When it comes to safety features, Ukraine's operation was remarkably calculated to minimize civilian casualties. The targeted Kamchatka zone was entirely military, located far from major population centers. The strikes occurred in the early hours, further reducing any chance of collateral damage. Ukrainian defense statements emphasized that the mission focused strictly on strategic military infrastructure linked to missile surveillance and naval logistics. Even Western observers praised the disciplined execution of the attack, noting how Ukraine continues to adhere to international norms despite operating under extreme wartime pressure. The fact that no civilian areas were impacted adds credibility to Ukraine's claim of conducting legitimate defensive actions against military assets used in aggression. The unique selling point of this operation lies in its boldness and symbolism. Kamchatka was never supposed to be touched. It represented Russia's deep sanctuary, thousands of miles away from the front lines. For Ukraine to hit such a distant target not only demonstrates range and technical innovation, but also a shift in psychological warfare. It undermines Russia's long-held belief that its core territories and far-flung bases are untouchable. Strategically, it sends ripples across Russia's military planning. Every radar, base, and depot across the country now has to prepare for the possibility of an unexpected strike. This forces Moscow into a state of constant alert, draining both resources and morale. Moreover, the timing of the attack just before dawn was symbolic. It mirrored the beginning of a new phase in Ukraine's defense strategy, silent, precise, and deeply disruptive. Politically, the shockwaves were immediate. Moscow's Ministry of Defense initially denied the incident, calling it misinformation spread by the West. But within hours, satellite imagery and independent confirmations began to surface, showing plumes of smoke and damaged structures consistent with explosions. The Russian narrative began to shift, first acknowledging a fire caused by electrical malfunction, then later admitting a possible UAV incursion. The hesitancy in response only added to the embarrassment. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials maintained a deliberate silence, offering no direct confirmation but allowing the global narrative to unfold naturally. This silence was strategic. By neither claiming nor denying the strike, Kiev allowed speculation and fear to work in its favor. Internationally, the attack reignited debates about escalation and deterrence. Western analysts saw the Kamchatka operation as a turning point, a demonstration that Ukraine is not limited to defending its borders, but capable of projecting power deep into adversary territory. It also raised questions about how Ukraine managed such an operation. Some believe the drones were domestically produced, possibly enhanced with Western technology or software support. Others speculate that this could be an evolution of earlier long-range models modified to reach unprecedented distances. Either way, the implications are massive. Russia, which once prided itself on having one of the most formidable air defense systems in the world, now faces a credibility crisis. If 4 small drones could evade detection across thousands of kilometers, what does that say about the effectiveness of its massive radar network and early warning systems? As details continue to emerge, the scale of the damage appears significant. Analysts reviewing satellite photos note that at least 3 structures were completely destroyed, including a radar installation and a communications relay tower, while several others suffered partial damage. Firefighting efforts lasted several hours, and videos from nearby residents captured distant explosions echoing across the mountainous region. Local authorities imposed a media blackout, but digital forensics experts managed to verify multiple geolocated clips consistent with the reported coordinates of the Kamchatka base. By mid-morning, Russian state television briefly acknowledged drone debris found near a restricted military facility, though without naming the location. For a few hours, confusion gripped Moscow's command network, as commanders scrambled to assess whether this was an isolated incident or part of a larger coordinated attack. This uncertainty played directly into Ukraine's advantage. Every hour of Russian silence amplified the psychological damage. On social media, Ukrainian users flooded platforms with cryptic messages and emojis hinting at dawn over Kamchatka, fueling speculation and international attention. The symbolism of hitting before dawn resonated strongly. It represented the moment darkness gave way to revelation. The idea that even in the most remote corners of Russian territory, accountability could find its mark. In terms of cost and logistics, the drones used in the Kamchatka strike were reportedly low-cost compared to the immense damage inflicted. Experts estimate that the total expense of the operation, including drone fabrication, guidance systems, and coordination, might have been under a few $1 million. In contrast, the equipment destroyed at the Russian base, including radar systems and communication towers, could easily exceed $180 million in value. This asymmetric cost-to-impact ratio highlights why drone warfare has become one of Ukraine's most effective tools in modern conflict. It's not just about destruction, it's about efficiency, turning limited resources into maximum strategic disruption. Russia's response, meanwhile, was swift but uncertain. Within hours, air defense drills were reportedly initiated across multiple Far Eastern bases. Radar systems were recalibrated, and searchlights illuminated the skies over key installations. Moscow vowed to strengthen defenses and retaliate, though no clear action was announced. Behind the scenes, however, intelligence sources suggest panic and confusion dominated military channels. The fact that Ukraine could bypass early warning systems, cross immense distances, and strike a facility once thought untouchable forced Russia to confront a new reality that the war is no longer confined to Europe's borders. The sense of invulnerability that shielded Russia's Far East has been permanently shattered. What makes this operation particularly notable is how it reshapes the strategic geography of the war. By demonstrating reach into the Pacific region, Ukraine has redefined the meaning of defense and deterrence. The Kamchatka strike suggests that any asset supporting Russia's war effort, no matter where it lies, could be at risk. It signals a broader deterrence strategy, not through nuclear threats or direct confrontation, but through precision, intelligence, and unpredictability. The world has now seen that Ukraine's fight is no longer reactive but strategic, guided by a clear understanding of pressure points in the Russian defense architecture. In terms of geopolitical fallout, this event is sending tremors through Moscow's alliances. China, which monitors the Pacific region closely, is likely watching with unease. If Ukrainian drones can reach Kamchatka, a zone heavily monitored by Russian and Chinese sensors, it raises questions about regional air defense integrity. The US and NATO, while maintaining official distance, are quietly studying the technical details, analyzing how Ukraine managed such operational depth. This could mark the beginning of a new phase in drone warfare where technology, intelligence, and timing matter far more than troop numbers or heavy artillery. As for the broader implications on the war, the Kamchatka strike is more than just a tactical victory. It's a psychological one. It reminds Russia that no corner of its military machine is beyond reach. It reassures Ukraine's allies that their support is not in vain, proving that innovation can overcome distance, and determination can defeat complacency. For ordinary Ukrainians, this event symbolizes endurance and ingenuity, the idea that even when outnumbered, the right combination of skill and courage can redefine the balance of power. In the end, the price of this victory isn't measured just in equipment lost or fuel tanks destroyed, but in the shifting mindset it creates. Russia must now defend 1,000 potential targets, while Ukraine needs only to choose one at a time. The attack on Kamchatka before dawn was not just a military maneuver, it was a statement. A message that the era of distant safety for aggressors is over. The balance of fear has begun to tilt, and for the first time in this war, Moscow finds itself looking nervously toward the skies, even in the farthest reaches of its own territory. And as dawn broke over the Pacific that morning, what lingered above the smoke and silence wasn't just the aftermath of explosions, it was the realization that the rules of modern warfare have changed forever. Ukraine's drones have rewritten the map, and the world is now watching what comes next.